I hope you are all doing well in this tough pandemic situation. I'm again to I'm again to help you virtually. I'm here with the lecture on Compton effect. Let us start from the very beginning. Compton effect is one example of interaction of photon with matter. If you have seen the previous video of interaction of photon with matter, photoelectric effect, in that video I have discussed In the video of photoelectric effect, I have discussed the several types of collisions of photon with electron. And the collision of photon with electron, when the energy of the photon is of the order of 10 kilo electron volt, 10 to the power 5 to 4 kilo electron volt or something, then you are going to get photoelectric effect. Also, there is a possibility you may get Compton effect. Depending upon that, with which type of electron the photon is colliding. If the photon is colliding with comparatively inertial electrons, then you may get photoelectric effect. And if the photon is colliding with outer shell electron, you may get Compton effect. Now, that is the pertaining question: what is Compton effect? Let me tell you the background before the discovery of Compton effect, which was discovered in 1922 by the famous American scientist Arthur Holly Compton, A.H. Compton, and later on, after the experimental verification of the same, he was given the Nobel Prize in 1927 because of his famous discovery of exchange of energy between photon and electron. But before that discovery, till the year 1921, there was no conclusive experiment or theoretical understanding on the exchange of energy between photon and electron. Photon, it was predicted it's a wave, but Max Planck predicted that corpusculous nature of radiation, that is, the radiation is not only wave, it carries the light particle called photon. The photons are traveling in a particular path, is called one wave train, and the photons carry the energy of light. It is the smallest ever energy consideration in the universe, and the photon energy was predicted by Max Planck as h nu. H is the Planck's number, and nu is the frequency of the radiation incident. So depending upon the value of nu, the energy of the photon may change. But if this is considered as a particle, then particle-particle collision probability is there, because the establishment of particle nature of electron was established in those days, in early 1990s, in early 1900, that particular era. And if you now consider photon as a particle, there must be some elastic or inelastic, any type of collision between these two particles. So now if you consider these to be like two ivory balls or different masses, if they collide, there may be elastic collision, there may be inelastic collision, there may be some energy loss or heat loss or anything, but exchange of energy is possible between them. What Arthur Holly Compton did, he gave us the experimental verification as well as the theoretical understanding on the effect of exchange of energy between photon and electron. What he told, according to him, the Compton effect in a nutshell is like that: when one X-ray type radiation, why X-ray type, I am discussing it later, when one X-ray type radiation with some wavelength lambda is colliding with the material of the scatterer, then the emergent radiation will not only carry the same wavelength, as well as it will carry some wavelength of higher limit, where he found that lambda prime is greater than lambda, this very thing. Now, how is it possible? This is the experimental finding, fine, but after the experimental finding, how you will theoretically establish this? But forget about the theoretical establishment. If you consider that lambda is the wavelength and suppose nu is the frequency, with frequency nu some light is scattering on the or incidenting on the material of the scatterer, so its energy will of course be h nu. Okay, h nu. Then after collision, it may have some energy loss. How the energy is lost? Without any collision, the energy may not be lost. So somehow, from this idea, it was first predicted there is some collision with the photon and the electron of the matter. Then because of this energy loss with collision with the electron, it is having some lesser energy. Lesser energy means h nu prime, where this nu prime, it is lesser than nu. If nu prime is less than nu, of course lambda prime will be greater than lambda, because nu and lambda is inversely proportional to each other. So you are getting some lesser wavelength, as well as you are getting some wavelength of you are getting actual wavelength and wavelength of upper limit. That means you are getting some unchanged frequency as well as some frequency of upper limit. So how is it possible? So that I am incidenting only one particular wavelength, and in the emergent radiation is carrying two types of wavelength. How is it possible? So if you see graphically, so if this be the value of lambda in the graph, suppose in left hand side before collision, in the right hand side you are getting the emergent radiation like that. So you are getting some wavelength lambda as well as you are getting some lambda prime like that. How is it possible? So first we have to calculate the difference between this lambda prime and lambda. That was named as delta lambda, that is change in wavelength. If you can calculate the change in wavelength, then you will be easily calculating the else, that how the energy is lost, what type of energy collision is going on, everything. It will be easily understandable. So from the definition, what we learned, that if one X-ray type radiation is colliding with the material of the scatterer, you are getting the unchanged wavelength as well as some wavelength of upper order limit. Now the question comes that why X-ray type radiation? X-ray type radiation, because to make the collision happen, you have to have higher energy. Higher energy means the value of h nu should be high. So if I write it E equals to h nu, then it can be written hc by lambda. So unless the value of lambda be small or very small, it is difficult to get very high energy. Unless the energy is high, the collision will not be effective. So in order to have some higher energy radiation, you have to have small value of lambda, and small value of lambda is generally supplied from X-ray type of radiation, where the wavelength of X-ray limits from 1 to 10 Armstrong, or maximum to few more than 10, 20, 30, maximum 100 Armstrong or something. So that is why the X-ray type radiation was named. Otherwise you can say that when low wavelength light and specify the range, that of that particular range the collision will be possible and Compton effect may be visualized, then it is also okay for the definition. Now let me sketch the understanding of the collision effect, how the collision is happening. Suppose I consider this is the electron, and in this direction the photon is coming. The photon is carrying the frequency nu, and it is colliding with the electron. After collision, what may happen? After collision, there are two possibilities. That is, the photon will completely give its energy to the electron, or it will partially transfer its energy to the electron, and getting excess energy, the electron will be mobile in a particular direction, and with reduced amount of energy, this photon will travel in another direction. Let us consider it is transferring some amount of its energy, and the electron with excess energy is moving in this direction, and the photon with reduced amount of energy is traveling in other direction. Let it be h nu prime. Here the energy is h nu, here the energy is h nu prime. Now if I draw a line which denotes the direction of propagation, let us consider the angle made with the direction of collision is theta here and phi here, theta and phi. So what is theta and what is phi? Theta is the angle of scattered photon. This is called incident photon. Incident photon. This is called first rest electron. This is called recoil electron. And this is called scattered photon. This is called scattered photon. So if I ask you now the what theta denotes the angle between the direction of propagation and scattered photon. What phi denotes the angle between direction of propagation and recoil electron. Okay, fine. Now here comes the consideration of the energy exchange. So let me first make a table so that I can elaborate it easily. First name the particle, then momentum, then energy. Particle. First the particle, let us call it incident photon. Incident photon. What will be its momentum? Momentum is always mv. Momentum is denoted as mv. Okay. First you can write the energy easily. Energy is h nu. Okay. mv, that can be written as also momentum. Suppose E equals to mc square from Einstein's formula, you know, and P equals to mc. So what P is actually E by c. Okay, so from that you can calculate the momentum h nu by c. Then rest electron. What about the rest electron now? Rest electron, first write down its energy. Energy will be rest plus energy, that is m0 c square. According to Einstein's formula, that if a particle is at rest, then also it may have some energy, and it is equals to m0 c square. And what will be its momentum? 0. As velocity is 0, it is at rest, then the momentum will be 0. Then scattered photon. Scattered photon, what is its energy? H nu prime. What is its momentum? H nu prime by c. Finally, what remains? Recoil electron. Recoil electron, what will be its energy? Suppose it is moving in a particular direction phi with a velocity v. So its energy will be always mc square, and momentum will be equals to mv. Here it is not m0 because it is now not at rest. Okay. Now we have to calculate the conservation of energy. We have to now calculate the conservation of momentum and the other things. So let me now keep it here and try to arrange the calculation in some other page so that you can visualize both simultaneously. Okay, let this be picture in my right hand side. I hope you can see the picture in the right hand side, and let me start from here. So first let me write from conservation of energy. From conservation of energy, what can we write? From conservation of energy, you can write that energy before collision and energy after collision will be same. So what is the energy before collision? Energy of the incident photon plus the rest electron. So it will be h nu. You can see from here also h nu, then m0 c square, h nu plus m0 c square, that will be equals to h nu prime plus mc square, like this. Okay, from that you can calculate m0 c square equals to h nu prime minus h nu plus m c square. Let it be equation 1 and this be equation 2. I hope it is easily understandable. No typical mathematics is involved. Simple 10 standard knowledge. You can check it out here from here also. H nu plus m0 c square, h nu prime, then mc square. Okay, then write from conservation of momentum along direction of collision. This is important. Why for direction of collision? Because momentum is a vector quantity. If you consider the momentum here h nu prime by c, it will have two components along the direction of collision and along the perpendicular to the direction of collision. It may be resolved into components. Okay, so unless we resolve into components, we cannot calculate it accurately. So for conservation of momentum along the direction of collision means this direction. So momentum before collision and momentum after collision. Momentum before collision for incident photon, it is h nu plus momentum of this rest electron 0 is equals to momentum of scattered photon after collision. Right hand side is after collision, left hand side is before collision. This line is making the segregation between after collision and before collision. So its component along the direction of collision. So h nu prime by c cos theta plus this one mv sin phi, mv cos phi. Okay, so from that you can calculate the value of mvc cos of phi, make it equation number 3 and write the value of mv, multiply all throughout by c. Mvc cos phi equals to h nu minus h nu prime cos of theta, make it equation number 4. Fine, easily understandable. Then what remains? Only one thing remains, that is from conservation of momentum perpendicular to the direction of collision. Perpendicular to the direction of collision, what will be its component? H nu. Perpendicular to that, component vanishes because it will give you only the value of cos 90 degree. So its component will not be there. 0 plus 0 will be this component towards the upper hand. This component towards the upper hand. That means h nu prime by c sin theta. This one towards the lower hand, so there will be a negative sign because these two are in opposite direction. This is in this direction, this is in that direction, upper and lower opposite direction. That is why mv sin phi, make it equation number 5. So from that you can write mv c sin phi equals to mvc sin phi equals to h nu prime sin of theta, make it equation number 6. Now concentrate on equation number 6 and 4. From equation number 4 and 6, this one and that one, if you square both the sides and add that, squaring and adding both the sides, you are going to get m square v square c square cos square phi plus sin square phi will give you m square v square c square cos square phi plus sin square phi will give you 1. Then this quantity, that is a square nu square plus a square nu prime square cos square theta minus 2 square nu prime cos of theta plus here h square nu prime square sine square theta. Now again here one cos square theta and one sine square theta. If you take common, it will be equals to 1. This value will be equals to 1, and finally you are getting m square v square c square equals to h square nu square plus h square nu prime square minus twice h square nu prime cos of theta. This is equals to m square v square c square. Make it equation number 7. Okay, now I am again proceeding with the calculation. There is simple mathematics involved here. What I am going to do, from this equation I am getting the value of m square v square c square. Here in this equation, now let's see the calculation where I was, that equation 7 is derived. I am having plenty equations. I have to just only play with the equations. Now I have arranged a copy so that I can see both the sides of calculation. I will not now show you the entire calculation. You can do it your own, very simple calculation. From equation 2, if you consider equation 2, if I write the value of mc square, what will be the value of mc square? Mc square will be equals to h nu minus h nu prime plus h nu minus h nu prime plus m0 c square, isn't it? Now square both the sides. So what you are getting? You are getting m square c to the power 4. M square c to the power 4 is equals to h square nu square plus h square nu prime square minus twice h square nu prime plus m0 square c to the power 4, then one quantity to m0 c square h nu minus nu prime. This one, just I have squared both the sides. First a square plus b square plus 2ab, 2m0 c square yes, it's fine. So let's see what happens from this calculation. The calculation is now going to be more longer. I am now doing the Einstein's calculation. From Einstein's equation, you know E equals to mc square, that you have gone through, Einstein's famous mass energy equivalence, and energy momentum equivalence. E square equals to p square c square plus m0 square c to the power 4, that you also know. P means mv. So if you put the value of p square v square c square plus m0 square c to the power 4. So if you put this, and E means mc square, so E square will be equals to m square c to the power 4. If you now use this formula and put it here in this calculation, in the left hand side you are getting m square c to the power 4. So instead of this m square c to the power 4, you can put this value m square v square c square plus m0 square c to the power 4. So use it here from this line, that write it m square v square c square plus m0 square c to the power 4 is equals to a square h square nu square plus h square nu prime square minus twice h square nu prime plus m0 square c to the power 4 plus twice m0 c square h nu minus nu prime. This one, so see m0 square c to the power 4 and m0 square c to the power 4 will cancel both the sides. Only remaining in the left hand side is m square v square c square, and from equation 7 here already we have calculated the value of m square v square c square. Put it here and write from 7. From 7, if you put the value of m square v square c square in this side, you will be getting from 7 I am putting the value h square nu square plus h square nu prime square minus twice h square nu prime cos of theta will be equals to h square nu square plus h square nu prime square minus twice h square nu prime plus twice m0 c square h nu minus nu prime. See, several terms will now get cancelled out. Several terms are there which will get cancelled out now. H square nu square h prime nu prime square, this will cancel out, and the remaining term twice h square nu prime, here also you are getting twice h square nu prime. So if it is coming to the right hand side, you will be getting the value twice m0 c square h nu minus nu prime will be equals to twice h square nu prime 1 minus cos of theta. Got it? This is very simple calculation, and now we have derived to our desired result. Now also see 2 will cancel out, h will cancel out. The remaining term will be m0 c square. The nu minus nu prime, nu can be written as lambda by c. This can be written as lambda prime by c, and one h is cancelled out, 2 is cancelled out. You are writing it h nu prime twice h nu prime 1 minus cos of theta. Okay, now I am coming to the right hand side. I can do it again. I am targeting this line. This line will be more helpful. If you start from this line again and put it here, give me a moment. Some terms are there which will get cancelled. That is 2 cancels out, h cancels out, so we are getting m0 c square into nu minus nu prime divided by nu prime is equals to h 1 minus cos of theta. You write it like that, nu by nu prime, so it will be finally 1 by nu prime minus 1 by nu is equals to h by m0 c square into 1 minus cos of theta. Now see how simple is the final result. One famous scientist told that end result should be small and beautiful. That is the beauty of physics, that we started from rigorous calculation. Now the end result is going to be small and beautiful. You are getting lambda prime by c minus lambda by c is equals to h by m0 c square into 1 minus cos of theta. So finally what you are getting, lambda prime minus lambda, that is delta lambda, that is called the Compton shift, is equals to h by m0 c into 1 minus cos of theta. This delta lambda, it is called Compton shift. I told in the very beginning from the definition of Compton effect that you are going to get unchanged wavelength as well as wavelength of upper limit. So wavelength of upper limit minus the actual wavelength, that is called the Compton shift. That if you are considering a material of the scatterer, incident ray is having wavelength lambda, unchanged wavelength is coming here with addition to some wavelength of upper limit. So this lambda minus lambda prime or lambda prime minus lambda, this value is giving the Compton shift delta lambda. Delta lambda is calculated out h by m0 c into 1 minus cos theta. Now the pertaining question is that the Compton shift depends upon which quantity. The variation, this delta lambda is, this part is constant, h by m0 c. It is written lambda c or Compton wavelength into 1 minus cos of theta. So it depends upon only the value of theta. There is a scattering angle of the photon only. It doesn't depend on the material of the scatterer. It depends on the value of theta, that is angle of scattering. And lambda c, if you calculate its value, putting the value of h and m0 c, you will be getting 0.24 Armstrong. This is also on constant quantity. This is called Compton wavelength, and delta lambda is Compton shift. Now there may be a question that why Compton effect is not seen for visible light. The answer is that in order to replace one electron, or in order to move one electron with the energy of the photon, you have to have the energy of the order of 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 5 kilo electron volt. But that is not possible for visible light. If you use visible light, then you can only get energy of few electron volt, but that much energy to recoil one electron with visible light is not possible. So you have to have higher energy, that is higher frequency, or in contrary you can think it about as lower wavelength. This is possible. Now two more questions left, that if I start from the very beginning, wherefrom I started with the question that what is the now the end point question, that what will be the energy of recoil electron and scattered photon. Okay, scattered photon, it is having energy E prime equals to h nu prime, that we know. Okay, and we can easily calculate the relationship between theta and phi. How we can do that? If we concentrate on equation number that we already calculated, that is the equation number 4 and 6. If you divide these two equations, equation number 4 and 6 that we have already calculated, you see here you are getting MVC cos phi and you are getting MVC sin phi. So 6 by 7, if you do equation 6 by 7, you will be getting the result that tan phi equals to something. So calculate it, what will be the value of tan phi. From 6 and 4, we are getting the value of tan of phi will be equals to this 6 and 4, tan of phi will be equals to h nu prime divided by h nu minus h nu prime cos of theta. So if you put the value of h nu prime here, you will be getting the relationship. So what will be the value of h nu prime? This is the question. So phi and theta is having some relationship with each other. The relationship between phi and theta is like that. This equation, from this equation you can easily get the value of, if you know the value of theta and phi, one you can get the value of other. And now finally the question, what is the value of this scattered photon? How to calculate recoil electron, energy of recoil electron for recoil electron, we can calculate it is elastic collision. So incident photon is having some energy, scattered photon is having some energy, rest amount of energy is being supplied to the recoil electron. So energy of the recoil electron will always be h nu minus h nu prime. So if you calculate it, the value of h nu minus h nu prime, calculate the value of h nu and put the value of h nu prime, it will be easily understandable. So how to get the value of h nu prime? Value of h nu prime you can get from the calculation of any of these calculations. You can get the value of h nu prime if you concentrate on the previous equations that we have already derived from this equation. Final equation, let me see from which equation you can get the value of h nu prime. Yes, from this equation you may get the value of h nu prime. You got the value of lambda prime and lambda. Lambda prime and lambda, the difference is calculated out, and we have calculated it successfully. The value of lambda prime and lambda, from this equation you can have a relation. How? Let's see, it is easy to calculate. From this equation you can get the value, that is lambda prime minus lambda equals to h by m0 c 1 minus cos theta. Put it here as I was talking. Energy of recoil electron, I will show it later. First let me calculate the value of h nu prime. Okay, as I was discussing just before, some time we derived to a relation like 1 by nu prime minus 1 by nu is equals to h by m0 c square into 1 minus cos of theta. So from this line what you have to do, you have to write the value of 1 by nu prime equals to h by m0 c square into 1 minus cos of theta. Then take the reciprocal, h by m0 c square 1 minus cos theta, plus it will be just 1 plus nu will come in this side. Take the reciprocal. If you take the reciprocal, put the value here, then only you will be getting the value of h nu prime. Put the value of h nu prime here, h nu minus h nu prime, the value you will get the value of recoil electron, and it is not very difficult. You can easily calculate it. How to calculate that I am showing you. If you take the reciprocal now, and this line, if you add them in the final line, if you add them, the value of it will be m0 c square into nu, then it will come m0 c square, so h nu into 1 minus cos of theta plus nu comes here, it will be m0 c square, like that. Now take the reciprocal. If you take the reciprocal in both side, in this side also you are getting a nu prime, so reciprocal of that, this will be h is already there, the nu prime is m0 c square into nu whole divided by h nu into 1 minus cos of theta plus m0 c square, like that. You can now take again h nu common. H nu is here and h and nu is here. You can take common, it will be 1 minus some quantity, like that, a big quantity, but you can easily calculate it. It is doable. So finally we have derived to a conclusion that in Compton effect we have seen the energy shift. We have calculated successfully the value of shift in Compton wavelength or delta lambda. The value was lambda prime minus lambda, which was equals to h by m0 c into 1 minus cos of theta, and we have seen that for visible light Compton effect is not possible. And also we have seen that for Compton effect the shift is independent to the material or nature of the scatterer. It depends only upon the value of theta. Theta is the scattering angle of the photon, and we have derived the relationship between theta and phi. So if you know one, we can calculate the other. We have derived the relationship between recoil electron and scatter photon, that for one is known, the other can be calculated. If you know the value of this theta, Here also there will be a term with theta. You can easily calculate the value of this energy of the equal electron. So here I conclude. I started with the understanding that Compton effect is nothing but collision of photon with matter. It is collision of photon with electron, as we have seen in the case of photoelectric effect. But the totally principle and physics is defined behind the photoelectric effect and Compton effect. In case of photoelectric effect, what happens? The total amount of the photon incidenting on the electron is being absorbed by the electron, and the electron emits from the material. But here the emission of electron is not possible. Only the electron can change its path or have a velocity in a particular direction, and with reduced velocity the photon will move in another direction. That is the main business of Compton effect. So I have shown you a video also from Compton effect in the study of photoelectric effect, the part 1 of interaction of photon with matter, and this is a part 2 interaction of photon with matter. This will be followed by some other lectures of coherent scattering, pair production, photo disintegration, etc. So thank you for listening. I hope now you can go through any textbook for the proper understanding and do the mathematical calculation once your own. This is long calculation but not very trivial. So you can do it your own, I think. Thank you.